They called it a dinosaur, a giant asleep at the wheel about to be run over by the AI revolution it helped create. Wall Street wrote it off. Analysts screamed sell. They said a new generation of nimble AI startups like OpenAI and Perplexity would devour its kingdom, leaving nothing but a hollowed-out carcass. What if I told you that the company everyone is betting against is not only surviving the AI onslaught, but is engineering one of the most aggressive, awe-inspiring comebacks in corporate history? What if the dinosaur was secretly building a fortress? An AI empire so vast, so deeply integrated into the fabric of our digital lives, that it's poised to dominate not just one, but multiple AI industries for the next decade. Today, we uncover the secret war happening behind the screens. We're going to pull back the curtain on Google's silent, methodical plan to achieve AI supremacy. Now let's explore how they turn their biggest vulnerability into their most powerful weapon. We'll talk about why their stock is shockingly undervalued, with some models actually pointing to a 40% upside, and really how a series of back-to-back miracles has put them in a position to maybe win the entire AI race. This isn't just a story about a tech company, it's a story about power, perception, and the brutal realities of a technological Cold War. And, you know, it all starts with 2 apologies. First things first, I owe you an apology. Actually, 2. At the start of each year, I give you my list of top stocks to get rich without getting lucky. It's my commitment to you. But this year, well, life happened. AI conferences, getting married, it's been a whirlwind. I haven't kept up with updating the list as diligently as I should have. Accountability is everything, so I'm sorry for that. But here's the crazy part. Even without me touching it, the list is crushing the index. Why? Because the core principle remains true. Understanding the science behind the stocks is the ultimate key to finding winners. And that brings me to my second more important apology. A month ago, I made a video about my new Magnificent 7. To make the list a clean 7, I kicked out Apple, Tesla, and Google. The comments exploded. You were confused, and you had every right to be. It was a mistake born from trying to be too clever. I should have just called it the Magnificent 8. So to make it up to you, we're going deep. We're going to dissect Google's entire operation. We'll look at how they really make money, why this behemoth is so undervalued, and the secret weapon that most analysts are completely missing. To understand Google's secret power, you have to understand its anatomy. It operates in 3 colossal markets, all supercharged by AI. The first is the one everyone thinks they know, digital advertising. Wall Street sees this chart, a projected 10% annual growth through 2033, and yawns. Low growth, they say. Google's best days are behind it, but they're looking at the wrong map. This is the real story. Spend on AI and advertising is set to more than 7 times in the same period. That's a blistering 30% compound annual growth rate. We're talking about AI that personalizes ads with terrifying precision, that predicts what you'll buy before you even know, that optimizes every single dollar spent online. The biggest bear thesis, the story the doomsayers love to tell, is that generative AI like ChatGPT and Perplexity will kill Google. They argue that by giving you direct answers, these tools will let you skip the websites, the clicks, and the ads. And here's the gut punch. That part is true. Google's network revenue, the money from ads on other people's websites, is down 1% year over year. The bears saw this and declared the end times. But they missed the twist. While everyone was focused on the websites, Google Search itself, the core of the kingdom, brought in $54.2 billion last quarter. That's up 12%. Let me put that in perspective. Google's search revenue alone is 25% more than all of NVIDIA's quarterly revenue. The chip giant at the heart of the AI boom. How is this possible? How is it growing when it should be shrinking? The answer is a single innovation that Google pulled off through what I can only describe as 3 back-to-back miracles: AI overviews. Miracle number 1, the cost plunge. 18 months ago, running these complex AI searches was honestly prohibitively expensive. But Gemini's engineers performed magic. They slashed the cost of inference by 90%. Yes, it's still about 4 to 10 times more expensive than a classic search. But with new generations of their custom TPU chips, that cost is in a free fall. And that's just search. YouTube advertising, it's up 13% to $9.8 billion, thanks to AI-powered recommendations that have us glued to our screens. YouTube now has almost twice the watch time of Netflix on TVs. Netflix's home turf. Google's subscription services, YouTube TV, Music, Google One, grew 20%. People are consolidating their digital lives under one roof, Google's. So, Google's advertising business isn't being disrupted. It's actually being supercharged by AI. But this is where the story really pivots. This is the part that Wall Street is honestly criminally undervaluing. Google isn't just a software company playing defense, they are a full-stack AI empire. They control every layer of the stack, from the silicon up. At the hardware level, they've got their tensor processing units, or TPUs. These aren't NVIDIA killers. They're specialized custom chips designed to work in concert with GPUs. And get this, Google Cloud was actually one of the first to integrate NVIDIA's latest Blackwell chips, letting them create a perfectly optimized hardware cocktail for, well, every single AI task. And the results are staggering. Google Cloud revenue hit $13.6 billion, up 32% year over year. It's now a $50 billion a year business on its own. But here's the jaw-dropper. Its operating income more than doubled. Margins jumped from 11.3% to 20.7% in just 1 year. They are printing money. Now let me tell you something that'll put you ahead of 99% of the analysts covering this stock. They'll tell you, sure, Google Cloud is growing, but it's a distant third, 3 times smaller than Amazon, twice as small as Microsoft. What they fail to account for is this. Google Cloud has the highest percentage of large AI workloads as a fraction of its total business. And it's not even close. The global cloud AI market is projected to 10x in the next 8 years. Google is positioned perfectly to ride that tidal wave. They doubled the number of $250 million deals year over year. In the first half of this year alone, they signed as many billion-dollar deals as they did in all of last year. The enterprise world is flocking to them for AI. But the ultimate validation, the one that should have sent shockwaves through the market, came just last week. A quiet announcement that changes everything. Let that sink in for a second. OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, Google's biggest direct competitor in search and AI models, is now a major customer. This isn't some symbolic partnership. For OpenAI to run its models on a competitor's cloud, they have to meticulously optimize them. It's a massive investment of time and resources. They wouldn't do it unless Google Cloud offered something they couldn't get anywhere else. The best performance, the best cost, the best solution. This is Google's biggest rival waving a white flag and admitting your infrastructure is superior. And Google is doubling down. They just raised their CapEx budget for this year to $85 billion. That is the largest single-year infrastructure investment in the history of technology. Worried they won't see a return on that insane spending? Well, their CFO just announced they have a $16 billion backlog of demand for Google Cloud. The money is already waiting in line. But the hardware, the cloud, that's just the foundation. The crown jewel of this empire, the thing that ties it all together, is the AI model itself, Gemini. Forget the benchmark wars. For the last year, I made the mistake of obsessing over which model was winning in math or coding tests. It's the wrong metric. The real war is fought in real-world applications. And this right here is Gemini's superpower. While other models, were kind of retrofitted to handle images or audio, Gemini was engineered from the ground up to be natively multimodal. It actually thinks in text, image, audio, and video, all at once. It also has a 1 million token context window. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's the amount of information the AI can keep in its mind at once. Gemini's context window is so large, it could read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy plus The Hobbit, and honestly, still have room to spare. This isn't just a parlor trick. This combination, native multimodality and a massive context window, is really the key to the holy grail of AI, a true agentic AI assistant. This is what Apple couldn't do with Siri. An AI that doesn't just answer questions, but, actually understands you. It sees your photos, reads your emails and calendar, knows your contacts, your texts, even your taste in movies and music. It has the full context of your life, allowing it to do the things you want, the way you want them done. This is why we're seeing these magical features pop up on Android phones. Circle to search, live translation, smart cross-app functions. These aren't just gimmicks, they're really the first tremors of an earthquake. Real-world applications that people are actually using today. 85,000 enterprises are now building applications with Gemini. That's up 35 times year over year. Not 35%, 35 times. The Gemini app itself has crossed 450 million monthly active users. So let's bring it all home. Let's talk about the stock. I was wrong. Wrong when I said Google couldn't win because they were playing defense. They aren't just defending their search monopoly, they are expanding it. They process more data tokens in a single month than most competitors do in a year. Their Gemini model is purpose-built to leverage the mountains of data we already entrust them with, making it the perfect AI assistant across Android, Chrome, and Workspace. All of it powered by their own custom tech stack, funded by an $85 billion war chest, with a cloud service so powerful their biggest rival is now a customer. When you put all of this together, the bleeding-edge research at DeepMind, the successful scaling of their self-driving car company Waymo, everything we've covered today, the conclusion is inescapable. Alphabet is insanely undervalued. So based on our discounted cash flow analysis, the fair value comes out to about $270 per share, which suggests a 40% upside from where we are right now. At the moment, Google's price-to-earnings ratio is sitting right around 20. And if we look at its peers, their PE ratios are typically in the range of 30 to 40. So, here's my take on a fair price-to-earnings ratio. It should really be somewhere between 30 and 35. Now, discounted cash flow models are already pointing to like a 40% upside. But let's take a look at the price-to-earnings ratio for a second. Google is trading at a PE of around 20. Its peers? Well, they're sitting at 30, even 40. And honestly, I don't think they're all overvalued. I actually believe Wall Street has fundamentally mispriced Google. When you consider its growth, its diversification, and honestly, just the insane demand for its AI services, its fair PE ratio should probably be closer to 30 or 35. So my plan? I'm dollar cost averaging into Google stock even more aggressively after this. Honestly, it remains near the very top of my list of stocks to get rich without getting lucky. After 7 months, I feel even better about that list, and, this is why it's so critical to understand the science behind the stocks. If you've gotten value from this deep dive, if I've earned it, consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It really tells me to make more content just like this. Thank you. The world wrote Google off. They saw a giant stumbling, but they didn't see the fortress being built in the shadows. They didn't see the silent, methodical assembly of the most integrated AI empire on the planet. The game isn't over. For Google, it may have just begun.